So, good morning. My name is Carlos Moreira. I am the CEO and founder of WISeKey, a cybersecurity company in Switzerland, which is very focused on the areas that we are describing on this slide. We have around root of trust, which is the ground zero of internet cybersecurity. Is the encryption that allows you to certify websites, computers, operating system. We are very strong on secure identity as we have deployed large-scale identity projects. We also have our own microchips, so we design IoT microchips on where we store the root of trust and the identity, creating an ecosystem effect. We are investing as we produce a lot of data on artificial intelligence, and we are now able as well to decentralize the storage of those identity into blockchain ledgers. So we're going to be showing how the company has evolved. This is a presentation we made in May this year during our annual shareholders meeting in Zurich. I will be giving you some update as well what happens from that presentation to now. So just the disclaimer, we are a listed company, so the information that I'm going to be giving here is a public information, which is not limited to any non-disclosures. So this information is public, and this presentation will be online, so anyone can access and review. So in terms of the presentation, we're going to cover a bit the corporate update of WISeKey, who is WISeKey, how we started, where we are now in terms of our corporate development. We're going to discuss secure IT projects, which we are deploying with our technology, how we solve the brand protection issues, and why WISeKey, why we believe is one of the most trusted platforms on the internet now, due our Swissness and the fact that we have been operating for over 20 years now. And we will give you some highlights of new products that we are launching, such as the Wise Phone and some financial update, which was the result of the General Assembly. So first of all, the company was listed in 2016, April 2016, at the Swiss Stock Exchange. So we are a listed company. Before that, we had a startup that had different cycles of evolution. The company had 160 staff worldwide, so this is breaking into a staff that we have in France, we have in Switzerland, in Geneva, we have in Vietnam, we have in the United States, and now also in Saudi Arabia, as WISeKey just announced a joint venture in Saudi Arabia. We also have some operations in China, in Hong Kong, and also in India. The company, it's the code of the company is WIHN on the Swiss Stock Exchange, which is the ticket of the company if you want to search the company on the Swiss Stock Exchange. So just to some highlights of our financial performances. So last year we announced $53.7 million revenue. There you have the regional breakdown of that revenue. With a very strong presence in Europe, which is logical as we are a European Swiss company. It's more important growth in the United States, which is going to be accelerated during 2020 as WISeKey is making a substantial investment into coming to the US market, where we think the growth of the company is going to be. Some important insight now also in Asia. Which is a very interesting market as well, because as we will see in further slide, the IoT market is growing substantially in those jurisdictions, as something like 50 billion objects are going to be connected, or they are in the process of being connected to the internet. And this is going to accelerate as we move forward. 2030, the prediction is 1 trillion objects are going to be connected to the internet. So Asia and United States obviously will become a major deployment grounds for the company. The company has been growing in terms of the revenue. For 2016, we had 11 million. 2017, we have 43 million. And 2018, we have 53 million. This included an acquisition we made with a company with the name Covadis, which we acquired in last year. And by the way, this company then was integrated in WISeKey. We took components of the company that were related to IoT, and we integrated into our platform. And then we sold a business that was derived from this acquisition to DigiCert, the U.S. Private company on cybersecurity, which was well known after their acquisition of VeriSign for $1 billion for Symantec. DigiCert acquired a business that we had with SSL certification as they needed to be compliant with the European Union jurisdiction on digital identities and eIDAS and GDPR. So that represented actually an important milestone during this year as WISeKey sold this business for $45 million cash, which is being now invested into reinforce our IoT presence. As you can see, the IoT revenue is growing. The business model there is that every time we sell IoT, which is hardware that relates to microchips and we put inside products, and we'll see that later, that also creates a demand for the cybersecurity products and services, which is a recurrent revenue model. So it's like a razor and blade business model. More microchips, IoT products we sell, higher is going to be the demand on cybersecurity, which is an annual demand as we every year we update the cybersecurity of those components. Growth margins of 54% from 48% in 2017. WISeKey is a very large IP holder, as we have a strategic patent portfolios of 88 individual patents. Some of them, they are strategical patents, as they are patents related to the design of IoT microchips that we design and then we produce with our partners in the company. A strong liquidity last year. This is $11.2 million. This has been even further increased during the first 6 months of 2019, which figures were published, and they are available in our investors website. The company now is sitting on $25 million cash, which are being used to, as I said before, to reinforce the IoT market. R&D investment, the company, as mentioned before, is investing in 2 major sectors. In the first slide, blockchain technology, as we believe this is going to be the future of decentralizing data and identity, and artificial intelligence, because we produce a lot of data, and that data has huge value in terms of being able, with our partners, to give them access to predictability analysis, data mining on data, and fake data is actually a big problem for those platforms. We produce highly authenticated data, which is premium data in what concerns artificial intelligence algorithms, and they will use the data to make prognostics. So the IoT market, just to give you a sense of it, it is a market where the trust is very important. If you provide IoT products which are unsecure, which is actually the case in many cases, this compromises the overall integrity of the internet. We are in a situation where there is a state of insecurity and untrust. The last years, there has been major issues related to hacks. Then they have paralyzed entire economies. In some cases, they have compromised personal data of people, but also hacks on infrastructure like electrical grids, like smart cities. And this is going to get bigger and bigger as the number of objects are being increasingly connected to the internet. The other big problem that we are facing with WISeKey solving is fake products. Fake products are inundated the market. This is a $4.2 trillion economy, which is actually a dark economy, as those fake products are contributing to all sorts of abuses from mafias and dark web to use this cash to invest in illicit economy. The fact that companies are taking measure of that, and they are producing products and they are more secure, and they are using our technology to secure the product at the design level. So the security as a design is contributing to increase the brand protection of these companies, and actually even making business, as we will see in few more slides, how these companies are now, by protecting their product, engaged in an unprecedented way with their consumer, in a trusted way. So just to the 3 essentials on where WISeKey operates. So identification, connected device needs a digital identity. In our current world, connected device are connecting only with a serial number, which is not enough. Certification means that you need to go through a certification process, and here WISeKey uses PKI, public key infrastructure, which is a very proven technology, has been there for 35 years, which is the technology that allows trust to be delegated on the internet from the root key all the way to the product through certification authorities, and then everything which is the physical and digital protection of the product itself. So some examples on the how we secure the Internet of Things. We insert a unique identification, which in the current environment you call as well a machine identity or UID. It's introduced physically and digitally into the secure element where we store the digital certificate. The secure element is then a chip. It can be a connected chip, or it can be a chip that you read with an NFC device, whether it's a mobile phone or an NFC reader, and that identification corresponds to the serial number of the product. So that shows that every product has a unique identification. And one of the powers of PKI is that you cannot create an equal identification for two different products. Every product has its own birth certificate. Then you have the certification, which is guaranteed by the platform. We exchange keys, private keys and public keys are exchanged. So the manufacturer knows that every object, which includes that chip, is unique. And then all the protection aspect, which is how we can connect that object physically to the internet, and the back-end software will identify that the object is unique and is authenticated and is real, and let that object to do whatever that object needs to do. Let's imagine a connected car connecting to the cloud, or a drone connected to the base, or an alarm system in your house connecting your security firewall. All that information is being exchanged between those devices using the public infrastructure technology I just described before. WISeKey acts as a platform. It means that you have companies that they only provide one aspect of it. Companies that they only provide the chips, others only provide the backend, others only provide the security. WISeKey is actually an end-to-end platform, allows you to integrate an end-to-end your IoT infrastructure within the WISeKey cybersecurity and identity platform. WISeKey is, as a consequence, positioned in a unique way vis-a-vis the competitors. Some competitors, as you have in this column, they are more focused on the hardware component, so they have a very solid and secure hardware chips, but in some cases those chips do not have PKI enablement, means that they are not PKI enabled chips, therefore cannot hold a certificate. Some of them, they are using their own cryptographic root of trust, which are not public root of trust, therefore they are not being trusted by external devices such as browser or operating system. And WISeKey in some cases compete with them. In other cases, we partner with them as the client might decide that they will prefer to focus on the cybersecurity aspect and not only the connectivity aspect. So cases study on how we can use this technology as we are entering into the fourth industrial revolution. Everything which is industrial deployment means projects like Industry 4, which is started in Germany, where the entire country is becoming a IoT country, where companies like Daimler, BMW, and others are becoming software platforms, connecting their cars as you will connect a device to a cloud. So this is repositioning the way those companies act. We have been working with air condition companies, and they have been hacked in the past. They have been, hackers found a way to get into data centers by compromising the air condition that powers the data center air condition process, and obviously that creates a huge liability for the trust and security of those data centers. We have been working with governments in the government level encryption. WISeKey cryptographic root key, one of the advantages by being a cryptographic root key that was created in Switzerland is that it can be verticalized, so you can go and establish Industry 4 in a country, combining the cryptographic root key to whatever root key that country might have, in order to be 100% compliant to the national digital signature legislation of the country. So we are not imposing a trust model. We are blending a standard neutral trust model, which is the Swiss one, with whatever the legislation might be there, as many of the countries in our days are all of them developing their own digital identity infrastructure. And then we have been focusing a lot into the what we believe is going to be a high growth sector for the company, which is the luxury automakers. All of them, they are, as you know, including a lot of electronics on it. Cars are not anymore cars. They are mobiles on wheels, and you need to secure those cars in the same way that you will secure your mobile. So we are working with leading car manufacturers in Europe, in China, and in the United States to trying to increase their security of the operating system of the car, but also on the connected parts of the car that they are connecting to the drive. Some IoT customers that we are working: Medtronic, Panasonic, HP, Tyco, TomTom, Landis+Gyr, Johnson, Tata Steel. I mean, those are only a sample of the companies we work with. We have 3,500 customers, and they are using WISeKey technology in different areas. Each of those customers, they are using for the specific needs, all of them with one priority, which is cybersecurity in mind. Means they want to make sure that their products, once they connect to the internet, do not compromise the integrity on the connection they are making, as that has happened in the past. A lot of hacks has been done through unprotected objects, then they compromise the cybersecurity perimeter on which they are connected to. So when we are going to focus on brand protection, WISeKey started to be well known because we were the first company to start to help brands to solve the $4.2 trillion dark economy I just mentioned before. We started in Switzerland with watches. WISeKey is the largest watch protection company now in the world. We have 1 million watches already protected by WISeKey, and growing substantially, as the market for luxury watches is 35 million watches. And watch manufacturers realized that by putting WISeKey technology on their watches, they can give a better service to their customers, and they can protect the value of the watch. If you buy a $25,000 watch, you don't want to be in a situation that you're going to have to prove that your watch is not a fake watch. You want to, in a very simple way, just with your mobile phone, by putting next to your watch, show that there's a certification process generated and proves that that watch is unique. We have been doing that with wine companies, expensive wine, $2,000 bottle of wine that they had been counterfeited, perfume, jewelry. The luxury market is a very big market because it's highly targeted by counterfeiters, as everybody wants to find a good deal on the product and buy a cheap Rolex. What they don't realize that by buying that cheap Rolex, they are contributing to this dark economy, which represents now a huge $4.2 trillion, which is 5% of the global GDP. So how we solve the brand protection? So we insert a piece of technology through a microchip into the object, or if that is not possible, we create an identity which is created with components of the object, the design of the object, whether it's jewelry, diamonds, no diamonds, all the characteristics and the serial parts of the project of the objects are combined, and that creates a digital identity. That establishes a relation with the customers, so customers that they will like to establish a relation with the brand just by downloading an app, which is a special edition of the WISeID app that WISeKey produces, which is available in iTunes and Android. So WISeID is adapted to the brand, and through that, the brand can establish a direct relation between their customers and their products, which does not exist. If you buy a bottle of perfume in a duty-free, you pay with your credit card, the brand doesn't know who you are. But if you use this technology, the brand establishes a direct relation with the consumer. And all the brands wants to establish a KYC relation with their consumers, and they don't need to go to social media to find who likes the brand object. So this new demand from brands to be as close as possible to consumer is something that can be achieved by securing the object, reducing the counterfeiting, and increase the user engagement. Obviously, the final consequence is that you reduce counterfeiting. WISeKey just this weekend signed a partnership with the Anti-Illicit Trade Declaration, which is a declaration pushed by international organizations, the UN, and many big corporations, that all of them committing to reduce illicit trade worldwide and using the help of WISeKey technology to fight illicit trade. So this is becoming a movement. I will say in 5 years' time, companies cannot afford anymore to put unprotected products in the market, because that could compromise the security and integrity of the product, and actually reduce the value of the product vis-a-vis their clients, as clients will choose to buy a product that has high authentication versus buy a product that doesn't have authentication, especially if they're going to pay the big price we pay for expensive luxury products. So we also started to solve another major interesting problem, but at the same time a huge opportunity, is to give brands the possibility of engaging with their customers using identities which are being loaded in merchandising. So those are projects we did with Real Madrid, with FC Barcelona, with Flamingo. We did it with the America's Cup, which is high-speed sailing boats. We have done with a lot of sport brands. Then they have a huge ecosystem, but they don't know about them. You know, Real Madrid has 450 million fans around the world, but only 60 million of them, they are paying Real Madrid for fees, because this is the only people that they have been registered in the Real Madrid database. So the opportunity of this brand is to engage with fans that they don't know about them through the internet. And in order to engage, they need to start an association between the fan and the product that the fan will buy. In that case, will be a T-shirt. So I buy a Yankee T-shirt, or I buy a Patriot T-shirt, and that T-shirt will have a digital identity on the form of a chip that we install inside the T-shirt that allows the fan with an app, which is the case here, to engage directly with the brand. And the personal identification information of the fan, which is the identity of the fan, is secure, stored in the phone and under the control of the fan. So the brand only gets that information if the fan authorizes the brand to have it under its consent. And that consent, by the way, is monetized. So if Patriots wants to know who I am, I will eventually accept that and give that consent through the mobile phone application to the brand in exchange of something. Could be a reduction to go to see one of the matches, or the reduction in the price of merchandising, or some tokens or credits that I can put in my wallet and I can redeem against the ecosystem created by the fans. So this is a big movement. All the brands are realizing that they can monetize the fan base, and this technology is ideal because not only they protect their merchandise against counterfeiting in the same way we did it with the luxury aspect, but also they create a huge ecosystem of fans that then become directly related. You don't need to go to Facebook or Twitter or whatever to know who your fans are and pay money for that. You do that direct engagement. So I think this is another vector of growth and will go substantially in the years to come, because brands are becoming platforms. They are entering into the fourth industrial revolution, and brands, through that effect of platform, they want to have direct engagement with the fans. Another examples, we have been using this technology to detect, I mentioned before, expensive products. Wine is one, very expensive liquors, very expensive whiskey that is being counterfeited. So we had put chips inside physically the capsules that protects the opening, and the mobile phone detects the NFC chip and establishes a relation, certifies that the bottle of liquor is genuine, and from there on you can start to buy online e-commerce activities or do any funds transaction related to that specific item. So you can apply that to medical products. 50% of the medical products on the internet are fake products. You can apply to garments. the garments as well. There's a lot of fake garments. And companies like Zara, like H&M, and all these companies, they want now to secure their products and at the same time establish user engagement with the users. The back end of this technology, because WISeKey provides the back end in association with our partners like Oracle, SAP, IBM Watson, is that because we produce a lot of data, this type of technology creates a lot of data. That data can be monetized in many different ways. It can provide analytics, so the back end will analyze the data, provide analytics, and that analytics has huge value back again for the brand. And the brand with that analytics can improve their products, it can improve their marketing strategies, can improve their distribution, the point of sales, etc. So all the supply chain process can be improved substantially by the information is collected directly from the products. Another area where this technology has been applied very successful is on the financial sector. You all recognize those microchips that you have in your credit cards. Now this technology is being totally disrupted by WISeKey technology, as you don't need to have a reader anymore. The Wi-Fi sign that you have in credit cards is actually not a Wi-Fi sign, it's a touch and pay sign, because the microchips is inside the card itself physically, that allows those cards to be transactional without the need to have a specialized reader. There's NFC technology, near field communication. That is the same technology that you will use to buy your Starbucks cafe without the need to insert your card in a reader. This technology, it's being associated with partnerships that WISeKey has established with companies that they provide hologram technology. The idea is to, in some cases, use holograms and upgrade the holograms technology to the microchip, as is offer many more interactions than you cannot achieve with holograms. So this is a work in progress. It's a sector that WISeKey is very active. And again, our intention is to have the entire product cycle in a way that we can provide this technology for very low-cost product, as we can go all the way up to a connected car. That is to cover the entire spectrum. So this is only explaining how the market reacts on the price of the chips. So we are still a bit high in comparison to very passive tag technology like RFID or 3D tags. Our price is sweet spot is around 20 cents. Obviously, this price is going down now because the production is getting much bigger. And WISeKey is developing new products that they are competing against with passive tag technology like the nano seal. So our objective is to cover the entire spectrum, all the way from the passive tags to the secure chips, which are the chips that you will put in high-end products. So just a recap, how we brands and we are helping to authenticate their products and to protect their customers and to engage with those customers through customer interactions. They are in many areas. We started in luxury. We had been expanding to hardware, like the case of Cisco, or like the case of Bulgari, where we had gone all the way to actually create a connected watch. That was a world first in how a luxury watch can be connected to the internet and being using the watch as a key. So it shows the diversification of WISeKey and the flexibility the company has in covering very complex model. Now, one of the differentiation, I get questions sometimes, but how WISeKey compares with its competitors, company like NXP or companies like ARM or companies like Symantec. The fact that we are combining software and hardware, cybersecurity, PKI, we own our cryptographic root key, improves what we call the trust protocol. The trust protocol is the ground zero on the internet. So it's like a tree, right? It's the roots of the internet. If the roots are compromised, whatever you're going to put on the top of it is going to be compromised as well. So the ground zero, the technology then trusts the internet, needs to be very pure, uncompromisable, and needs to be neutral. And that's where WISeKey position is very unique. That's why our Swiss identity is unique, and we have been defending that Swiss identity because the country itself, Switzerland, is a trusted country. It's a country that is small, therefore focused very much on data protection, on the way consumers are protected, and we have been embedding all this DNA the country has, all these traditions, all this know-how into algorithms that now they are respecting that. Everybody knows the problem now on ethics and AI. When you develop an algorithm, the algorithm could be biased. It could have all sort of bias, and WISeKey guarantees that those bias are not being inserted into the algorithm because we have been focusing very much on the trust protocols. In order to do that, we work worldwide, so we work as a global company. We have been developing what we call blockchain centers of excellence, which are R&D centers around the world, and they are working with us to localize our technology and use this technology at national level by adapting whatever trust model those countries will have. This is the way blockchain is being integrated. So again, as we do with microchips, we do as well with blockchain. We are one of the first companies in the world, maybe the only one to my knowledge, that has PKI-enabled blockchain, because blockchain is great in terms of the peer-to-peer distribution of the ledgers and the fact that the ledgers are immutable. But blockchain has a deficit, in what concerns the trust deficit. We don't know who is the cryptographic root key of the blockchain. We don't know who Satoshi is. All that creates a lot of tensions when blockchain are being used for government contracts on things on where you have to guarantee end-to-end the infrastructure. So we do in those cases, we use the distribution capability of the blockchain through the ledgers, but we don't use the root key. We actually replacing that with a PKI process. And the first project, as a consequence of that integration, is what we call WISeCoin, which is a token that WISeKey has created that is being used to authenticate objects. And when the object gets authenticated by another object, they exchange token as a way to pay for that service. And one of the extensions of the company, although we don't want to produce funds, it's not our objective, we want to further enhance and further protect existing operating systems which are sitting on mobile phones, then we believe needs to be upgraded into a more trusted OS. And as a consequence, WISeKey has developed a WISePhone, which is a trusted OS integration. We started with Android, and now we are testing our own capabilities. The idea is basically to provide another dimension for anyone using an Android phone, but they want to use that Android phone in an enterprise environment. They want to be sure that everybody connected to that phone environment is digital identifiable, that identity has privileges and authorizations that can be granted but also revoked in case of problems. WISePhone has been introduced at the World Congress in Barcelona this year. It's still work in progress, and we are focusing that as an enterprise solution. It's not a consumer solution. It's more focused for enterprises, and they want to have a secure phone within the enterprise. So that's the way the WISePhone is integrated, and all the services the WISePhone software is currently doing. As I said before, WISeKey teams with mobile phone companies. Then they have developed their own phone. Some of them they are developing their own OS, or they are using Android, but they want to have a layer of security which is higher than what they get in the traditional. So as a summary and conclusion, WISeKey is really a technology leader. We are well known for the precision of the company to solve problems. We have been doing moonshot projects for many years. We were the first company in the world doing e-voting on mobile phones. We were the first company doing intelligent watches. So WISeKey has been doing moonshot projects before even the big multinationals. We are one of the leaders on digital identity. And I don't think nobody in the world knows more and has more experience on digital identity than we have. Plus we have a huge ecosystem. The WISeKey cryptographic root key is now in 3.6 billion devices through different browser integration. It has been just recognized in China with the 360 browser, which is a dominant browser in China. So we got millions of downloads in China. And now with the identities on the chip and the fact that now we have 1.2 billion chips already in the market, is also creating a dominant position in what concerns IoT interaction. Growth potential is huge because we believe the company is very well integrated. Obviously, for us, the big opportunity is to bring the company to the United States. We are doing the roadshow now for that. WISeKey has announced intention to list the company through its ADR2 in one of the leading stock markets in the United States, and we are in that process now. And the company, with that, will aspire to a much higher growth. So the rest of the information is available in our website. So I have an investor site, wisekey.com/investors. There you will have access to the annual report of WISeKey. You will also have the H1 report, which is the first 6 months report of the year. As in Switzerland, we report only 6 months. Once we are in the leading, whether it's NASDAQ or New York Stock Exchange, we will be reporting in quarterly. But you have all the information. You also have analyst coverage, including the analyst coverage from HCW, which is together with Oppenheimer, one of the two independent analysts that is covering the company, and the rest of the information is available under request. Thank you very much for your attention, and look forward to engage with you in the future. Thank you.